Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Season 3, Episode 23 of Arrow. My name is Oliver Queen. The episode is rated TV-14, so this video will be, other than the shortly forthcoming YouTube video recommendation. There will be spoilers for the Arrowverse leading up to and including this episode, and an episode that I absolutely loved. So, it is Pride Month. There's not a lot of Pride to read into this episode. So, instead, the video recommendation will be Pride-themed, Lily Simpson's An Autopsy of a White Town, Return to the Land. And I am going to very briefly start with, I guess there was just the one deleted scene, yeah. So basically, it's funny because I watched it literally right after finishing the episode itself, and at first I thought that it was a continuation of the ending, but it goes like I guess at the start. It goes maybe not the very start. It's the because it's got the two of them driving, Felicity and Oliver, and then the yeah, she doesn't call him Oliver, she calls him Al Sahim, and then he wakes up on the plane, and Raish asks, what kind of dream did you have? So I understand, it was almost definitely just cut for time. It's a really great scene. I can absolutely imagine it working incredibly well as bookending the episode, pretty much, Um, I also just watched the gag reel. If you have access to it, it's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something incredibly humanizing about seeing these unbelievably talented people screw up and, laugh at their mess up and each other's and such. And yeah, John Barrowman, as soon as he breaks character, like whether it's this gag reel or a couple of Comic-Con appearances I've seen by now, he's incredibly funny. Just absolutely overflowing with charisma. And I think that is pretty much the ones. Yeah, several of the funniest were his. He way overacts during the bits with, he falls down the stairs in that flashback where he's told, his wife is dead, and then, when the cops show up, he kneels and cries out, "It was only a parking ticket." Wow. And yeah, it was also really cool seeing, I mean, I wasn't surprised that I want to say her name is Emily Bett Rickards, who plays Felicity, that she's funny in outtakes. But I haven't seen a lot of I don't know why suddenly names are coming to me. Katie Cassidy, um, and Willa Holland. Well, Willa Holland, I'm not hugely surprised by, but Katie Cassidy, I don't know. I think it was the first time I've seen her out of character, where she, well, not the very first time, but one of the first times out of character where she really just, yeah, laughing and smiling. I'm not one of those people who say, oh, women should smile more. It's just great to see her having such a good time. Like some people get really frustrated during outtakes, and you're just like, oh, I feel bad for them. I don't want to be laughing while they're upset. And but yeah, Willa Holland also incredibly funny ones. And yeah, I did also want to mention, I don't know how I neglected it, but I really appreciated the point made in, yeah, I think it was the episode before this one, about how, Shreve says, well, the U.S. military are worried about China, and so they do this attack. Just like, yeah, even back then, there was a lot of people in the U.S. government nervous about China. And unfortunately, sometimes when the U.S. government gets nervous about another country, yeah, they'll kill people in order to not be nervous anymore. Yeah, I believe that does get us to the episode. So, finalizing not the show itself, obviously, but the arcs of the season very nicely. Yeah, these season finales just get better and better. Um, I'm gonna try to keep it more or less chronological. We'll see how well it goes. But yeah, so I had not realized that that's a very clever way to get around. Yeah, that really was the Alpha and Omega, but they had all been inoculated without Rish knowing. Very, very clever. And let's see. I think that does. So yeah, basically like we saw them pass out, and then they come to once their system has fought off the virus. Just yeah, very, very nicely done. And I think, does that get us to the so yeah, Oliver flying, and I will say it definitely played different than it would have, the conversation about, what kind of dream, not knowing exactly what he had dreamt, and let's see. Yeah, he has the line about, he dreamt of rebirth. And in a way that is true, he was dreaming of, yeah. I think that's when we get to the first of the flashbacks. And yeah, so very cool, Oliver just attacks Shreve and they fight off the various, the military men who were gonna shoot. And let's see. Yeah, great to see him use bow and arrow again. And I think that is when we have the yeah, so Malcolm explains how he saved their lives, and then he says, I believe the words you're looking for are thank and you, preferably in that order. And Felicity like clears her throat, and for like a fraction of a second I'm like, there's no way she's gonna say it. And she doesn't, at no point in this episode does it. As, yeah. Let's see. And I do also just love that he actually does ask that, like, just wow. And yeah, there's the thing about, like, we're still locked in here. Well, we're just waiting for something. What? The thunder. Very, very cool. Was not sure we were going to see Barry. Thank you, Felicity. But the which is also like, Barry, she wouldn't have said that if you had just broken them out immediately instead of geeking out about like, oh, a dungeon. And I could switch off a robot who provides cute tech support down here. And I apologize for that one. Props if you have any clue what I just referenced. Anyway, I think that might be the but yeah, Oliver did say he might need a favor soon. And yeah, I mean, Nanda Parbat, we know the Barry can run across water. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he's been running for however long it took to get all the way there. Very nicely done. And yeah, he points out, listen, I got to get back to Harrison Wells, which yeah, absolutely. So the right, and also the bit where he runs around taking a bunch of them out, removes the handcuffs or the chains rather from Tatsu, and I guess that does pretty much cover the but yeah, also appreciated, she says she has to go back to her life of solitude. And I wonder if she really is gonna be completely done now, or if there's gonna be something happening. that brings her back out of it. And yeah, so they go back, and yeah, it was incredibly cool. Like, I love how much action, tension, and character stuff they fit into this one episode. Like, it really is a finale, full on, the bit with the engines, you know, yeah, starting to fail, and the it's one of those situations where, I didn't see that going there, even though I saw the plane's wing in the air. I think I might need help to stop making way too obscure references. That is so dated. Anyway, the yes, it makes a lot of sense that Ray's first guess is Nissa, and then Oliver reveals that it was him and throws the sword to her, and she fights. That was so cool. And then the back of the plane opens up, and it just, yeah. I've said it before, I will continue saying it. I am a firm believer in the theory that if you have an action scene in your piece of media where it makes sense, you can make it work to have a fight of some kind in, on, or around a fast-moving vehicle, particularly something like a train or a plane, where, like, literally, falling out or off might just be the end for whoever that happens to. That makes the scene so much cooler and more tense. And yeah, this was very much a case of that, especially once the back was open. And let's see. Yeah, so all of, they do not manage to stop Raish from leaving with the virus, and then they have to, yeah, the ground is where they're going to land. Only the word is crash. And they, let's see, yeah, they get back to that. It was very clever. Now I need an outtake. Very clever. This thing of like, oh, the proximity alarm is going off, because like we're thinking, so the League are attacking, because that doesn't make sense, but it's just the two of them, and then Nissa very much on board with putting an arrow in John. She's practically like addressing Oliver, going like, now can I kill him? You should have let me kill him. See, I'm working my way towards less obscure and somewhat more relevant references here. Now, I think that does bring us to the, yeah, it was very cool with, yeah, the part where, so before they arrive, Malcolm giving out the orders, and yeah, like, they're like, I'm sorry, do you have selective amnesia and forget that we all hate your guts because of the thing you did, like the undertaking? Are you kidding me right now? And John is like, okay, for now we'll follow his lead. And I really appreciated that there was a conversation, and because they're both cishet men, starts with a punch. I'm not going to pretend like Oliver isn't very much like I don't know. I just think, to try to solve their problems without violence. Violence doesn't really solve much of anything. It should only ever be the last resort. But I do appreciate, and it is also, like, it's not like Dig just goes around randomly punching everyone that he's annoyed with, especially people that he used to trust, like Oliver. And I also like how, by the end of the episode, it's unclear if he is going to keep being a hero and keep and if he's going to start wearing a mask. Personally, I think so, but it is possible that it'll take something major to bring him there. So that's got to bring us to the second flashback, I feel like. So yeah, we're told, okay, so it's 3 days since and the outbreak, and they're given the ashes, and Oliver walks off with his urn, trying to figure out where to hide it so that Eric Cartman doesn't get his hands on it. And then starts torturing Shreve with the words, "You have failed the city." Which, yeah, is that canonically the first time he says that? I guess it is. I think. I forget. Anyway, and let's see, one of them, at least. And that's when we have yeah, also really appreciate it. I mean, as much as he can be just the absolute worst, Malcolm is kind of right about the things he suggests, and they do end up managing to save, like, yeah, almost no one is actually affected. Let's see, there's the one person who manages to release it, and they use the nanobots to dissipate it. Yeah. I feel like that's around the time we get the next of the flashbacks, and yeah, we see that Oliver has been torturing for a while. Yeah, it was also great, the bit with, remember Amanda Waller? She taught me some things. And yeah, Tatsu is 100% against this, says this is wrong. And Masao notes he's still alive, he's just passed out from the pain, and without hesitation executes him. And yeah, we very clearly see this is, like, Oliver is now very, very close to who he was when we met him in the pilot, and Masao is, yeah, I don't actually know if we're going to see him again, since he's now, that I wouldn't rule out that's the last flashback we see him in. We'll see. I'll see. And he is dead in the present day, and yeah, like, at that point, yeah, he's gonna join. And let's see, I might as well at this point finish off the the last of the flashbacks. Tatsu mentions the monastery, and Oliver. So did I see right? Did I say Central City or Coast City? My memory, but it seemed like I don't know. I got the sense that he was going somewhere significant, but it was, my first guess was Lian Yu, which we know he's gonna end up by. I mean, I'm thinking the very last flashback of season 5, it must be, is gonna be him seeing the boat and firing the arrow that we saw at the very, yeah, I think it was the first thing we saw in the pilot of the, yeah. I think that does bring us back to, yeah, very cool with the thing of the, what's this? Let's see. I want to say it was the, yeah, yeah. So they realize, okay, so there's gonna be, no, wait, yeah, I guess the very next thing was the yeah, uh, Damien Dark. Very clever. The whole thing of, yeah, Raish is in part there to get Damien, and he is also, Damien managed to escape, so I'm thinking we're gonna see him again down the line. But that is very cool. Yeah, and yeah, the cutout is taken out, and then Raish, I really like I forget if that's the exact bit, but at some point in this episode he says, "Unlike you, I keep my word," which I do appreciate these villains that, I'm not saying it's every villain in the Arrowverse so far, but some, yeah, like, they certainly don't lie very much, at least, and I think the next thing is, yeah, and so he finds out, 4 different places, and also just the fact that Raish actually tells him that, because, like, he could have said, there's 8 or 16 different places, but he specifically, or said there's only one, so, so that they would be looking for the completely wrong number and be either overwhelmed looking for so many different places, or focus to, if he said there's just one, they would focus too intensely on the first place. They, and very powerful scene with Laurel and her father, and yeah, the whole, just the tension throughout that scene was so great. At first he says, okay, I'm gonna have to put you on hold. It won't take long. Like, he's basically like, listen, I'm gonna have to tell my daughter that she's gonna have to get out of my office because I have more important things to deal with. And yeah, he reacts in a sadly very predictable way to her saying, there's this dangerous thing, and she hangs up. She cut him off. She cut off the judge. In my defense, that is not the most obscure reference that I've made today. And the even if the movie's almost 20 years old. And then we have the she knows that he's drinking again, which helps explain why he's being so intense and impossible to deal with. And yeah, really appreciated her acknowledging, like, it would have been a weaker scene if she had said, you are a drunk, but she said, we're drunks. And that's also part of why she knows it so well, that it is, there's no way, no two drinks. And yeah, he did not pick a heck of a day to stop drinking. It was the exact right day. And it is also great seeing him, at least temporarily, back on board with Team Arrow. And I guess that does bring us to, so yeah, they're going around finding different places. It was really cool, the bit with stopping the Mr. Briefcase, and the fact that there was no vial in there. That's VIAL, not VILE. And seeing yeah, so I guess I should call her Speedy too, huh? Because Oliver said he told everyone to. Yeah, that was very cool. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess that she spent the time in between, she spent some time in between getting the suit and from Roy and this scene, sewing it fitting it, I think is the term, because they are not quite the same size, but yeah. And yeah, she looks so badass. It's awesome. I can hardly. It's gonna be so long, but it's gonna be worth the wait. Next is some season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead, and then Hit Monkey, and then we're back on Arrowverse. But and to be clear, only season 1 of Hit Monkey, and that's of course providing it does not leave Disney Plus before I get to it, but we'll see. Fairly few of them have left before I got to them, of the Marvel shows. It's really just Runaways, I think. Anyway, that does bring us to the idea that it's in, it's in his blood. And the thing about, okay, so we have to stop them without making them bleed. And I love the line of, try not to kill anyone else. Fantastic. And the couple of them, being like, okay, so there was one guard here. Yeah, there was one guard here too. And the bit part with, I'm a great teacher. Love that confidence. And she's not wrong, she knows what, Laurel used to fight like. It is true that she's gotten a lot better. And I think that does pretty much, the part where, Oliver goes to kill Raish. And there's the thing about, the, the one who comes to talk to, that was all, I loved the zip line arrow, and he goes through a window. been a little while since we saw that. Didn't realize how much I missed that. And yeah, so he is told where Raish will be, and ultimately he goes there in order to take out Raish so that Malcolm can become the new Raish, and also so that Raish is no longer a threat. And that is also a really cool change, especially because Nisa wants him dead. But she, would have to contend with all the League's assassins. And yeah, and it was another fantastic fight. And the way that Oliver ends it by imitating the move that Raish used on him, and then doing this sort of uh, funeral rites, I think is the appropriate term. And let's see. Yeah, as usual, like they do such a good job with these major villains. Like this is the third of the season-long villains. Come to think of it, he's the first to die, although it looked like Malcolm died, so I guess it's... I don't know. Right now, if I had to guess, I don't think he's gonna come back. It would have to mean someone got him all the way back to Nanda Parbat and into... You guys have a hot tub? Felicity keeps getting the best lines. There's actually, and there's on a... Right now I forget if it's yeah, I think it was like a Comic-Con thing where they talk about like, oh, the what's it called? Oh, what was it like with the... Yeah, he joked something about like, oh, you wouldn't believe the parties we had in there. And he also like jokingly threatened the rest of the cast and I guess crew if they told anyone the stuff that happened there. Anyway, other than that, we have the... Let's see. Yeah, and the part where um, Capquin Lance is trying to talk them out of shooting, and I think it was the chief insisted that they do take the shot, and so outranks. Yeah, and so Felicity knows, but Ray is busy with the nano, and it is true. Like Oliver would say that it would be, he would be okay with dying there. That was also great when she brought him coffee and said, she's making the one exception. And the thing about how he was expecting to die, and so not have the conversation, yeah. And I think that does get us all the way to yeah, and the thing about, I keep having this dream. I don't fight Rish, and sometimes I still end up dead, but, what was it, like most of the time we're driving together, that was great. Yeah, and that will also play very different if that dream had appeared in the opening. But yeah, you realize in retrospect, right, that was the dream he had. And we did already see the variant of the dream where he agreed not to go and still ended badly. Now, I believe I must say Ray takes it incredibly well. But I mean, he did pretty much come out and say, listen, I accept that I am Felicity's second choice. But yeah, it was very cool seeing Felicity in the suit. And I appreciate that they got to the reveal quick because, like, I pretty much immediately knew that's not Ray in the suit. And it is the kind of thing of like, I mean, yeah, it's, doesn't need to like fit her perfectly or anything, it flies, like, and the let's see. Also very sweet that she said she would be kissing him if she knew how to take the suit off. Don't ask Ray's help with that. That would be awkward. And yeah, Oliver saying, no longer I don't need to be a hero anymore, which I don't think he's going to completely stop being a hero. I did at first think that meant he was the new Raish, so very good misdirect there. But I I wonder what it's going to be that's going to get him back to heroism. I'm excited to find out. And let's see. Yeah, I definitely approve of the new Team Arrow, the new status quo there. And let's see. Appreciate it that Oliver does confront Malcolm and says he's never forgiving him for Sarah or Thea. And yeah, the thing about like, listen, Malcolm, if you want to talk Oliver out of it, go ahead, try. I've told him 5 times not to go, and he keeps insisting on going. And then Malcolm is like, well, I'm leaving too. And Thea's like, do you need help packing your bags? I will drive you to the airport. Thea, you don't have a car. I will carry you on my back to the airport.